that took 5 months, long to put together. And if you watched it, and which of course we want to encourage all Nigerians to actually watch it, 27 minutes of the documentary, the video, you'll see that it's more like a compression of major issues. If you have to film, for like 5 months, there are a lot of things that will crop up, but you also have to pick and put together, considering the fact that you have to be balanced. But yes, in the documentary, Brekete family has been seen doing great job. People look at them as the last hope, to get justice, especially because there is a flaw in the system and people no longer have confidence in the justice system. They seem to be, people or agencies that are supposed to be doing what they need to do to bring confidence, bring justice, to fight for the rights of people, appear to be derailing. And so within this vacuum, someone has stepped in, and not just Ahmed Issa, for instance, of Brekete family. There are also a lot of other, human rights defenders all over Nigeria who are claiming to be fighting for the rights of the people. But then what is important is, how do they do this? How do they fight for the common people? Are there other sides that the public doesn't know? And that is why this documentary is very important, mirroring the flaw in the society and how a man has been able to step in to try to, bridge the gap. And in the process of doing that, there have been some questions that need to be asked. There have been some issues that have been thrown up that the public now stand in a position to judge and at least make their own consider decisions.
Right. Chris, let me just hear your thoughts very briefly on the your experience working on these projects for 5 months, briefly, before we now go into what you caught on camera.
Well, what I would quickly say, I believe Peter is in a better position to talk more about that. But basically, on the thought, that the BBC Africa Eye documentary and investigation unit within the BBC Africa for War Service, the program is based on in-depth reporting that holds power to account. So basically, what we're out to do on this documentary is to say, okay, you find yourself in a position of authority. You also have to be accountable to the people you represent, the people you speak to. For instance, as a journalist, I should be accountable to my organization, but also accountable to the public who consume the information, the news that I bring. And I think once that is done, if everyone is held to account, it makes it creates a kind of sane society, because people now have to be much more careful, and they have to be able to, guide themselves and control the way they do what they do.
Right. Peter, now over to you. Now, let's dig in very quickly right now. 17 minutes past the hour of 8. We're showing you clips from that documentary right now on our live video stream on Facebook and on YouTube. If you're not watching live, perhaps you should go and watch right now. Clips from that documentary by BBC Africa Eye is showing right now on our live stream on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3. It's also live on YouTube, Nigeria Info 99.3. Let me know what you think. Peter, over to you. Let's talk about what you caught on camera. Did you expect that day was going to go the way it went?
No, at all. When you are carrying a camera, when you're actually reporting, you don't know what's going to happen, because everything is spontaneous. And so what transpired throughout at different points in time in the film were all things that nobody had was prepared for. The cases that were coming up, we were not even prepared for them. So it's just as on the go, we are documenting, we are recording, we are asking questions, we are filming. And so things that happen on the spot at the moment, and you have to remain alert, because something could be happening somewhere else.
Right.
So it's a matter of being mentally alert to every situation happening within your environment. And so I want to ask you, have you watched the full film yourself?
Yes, I have. So the reason I asked that question first was because so we can lay all the cards on the table and say that there is no ulterior motive to you capturing that on video or anything. I mean, it was just a spur of the
Oh
moment.
no.
And yeah, that's the reason I asked that question. But tell us the story behind what led to that particular event and what eventually happened.
Which event are you referring to? Because you
The
see, why I'm
the
asking this is several clips are flying around the internet. People are making comments and reactions are coming from maybe just one event, one clip.
right.
Meanwhile, the totality of the film is where people will now be able to have an informed
Hmm,
opinion
hmm.
and make informed this and comments around it. So, which clip are you referring to? Which scene
So let's
in
let's
the film?
start let's start with a little girl that Ahmed met at the entrance to the radio station, and then he spoke with a little girl and asked what happened to the little girl. The little girl had burns on her head, and then the sister who came with her told Ahmed the entire story. Ahmed took them inside. They invited the aunt, who didn't show up at first. Then later, the police. He called the police in FCT, and the police waded into that particular situation. They brought in their patrol. Am I correct, please? And then
Yes.
he even gave he promised some incentives to the police that if they can find anybody they can get for one head that they catch, for one person they catch, he gives them 50,000 naira. That was a promise in the video. And then he even asked you to follow them, which you did. When you got to that place that the alleged incident happened, what did you find? What happened then?
Okay. Thank you. This particular incident of the 6-year-old girl who was burnt, who her auntie set her head on fire, kerosene and oil on fire. This particular incident is for me one of those incidents that depicts the level of injustice, the level of barbarism, the level of ignorance and brainwashing that has led to a lot of the ills in the society, where you can see an aunt look at her niece and burn her head because there's an allegation she's a witch. And that actually shows how pitiful, if I want to say, use the word, our society has degenerated to. And in a situation like this, you would expect that the first place you will go to is the police to go and report this kind of criminal activity. But lo and behold, the only place the family you would want to go to is this human rights radio bracketed, so that because they believe that from there they will get not only treatment, appropriate treatment because of the finances involved in taking care of the girl, but also because there will be justice for the assault on the little girl. And that, for me, was overwhelming, seeing a little girl who, by the way, the incident occurred to the little girl in November last year. It was only in February that the case was brought to the Human Rights Radio. So 3 months had elapsed between then, and the family had seen that there's no other solace. They took their cross and carried it to the Human Rights Radio and dropped it in front of the station and said, bear my cross for me because it's too much. And the radio station bore that cross for them.
Hmm.
Not only did the radio station get adequate medical treatment for the little girl, which is a reflection of the good work that the Human Rights Radio does and Amadisa does for the Nigerian public, because we could see at the end of the film that the girl actually is receiving medical treatment. So it showed the good work, but it also showed the flaw of the system, that people would rather go to this place for solution and get the solution than anywhere else. It was overwhelming watching that. Then also the part of how the police were, conscripted into ensuring that the person who attacked this girl was arrested that same day. In less than an hour, the police, because Amadisa called the police authorities ran to, I won't use the word run, but came to the station and went and looked for the girl, which we accompanied them, and the aunts that did this to the girl. We didn't find them, but they still went further and still located them, the lady, and brought her to the station. It was in the course of now Amadisa asking the lady, why did you set this young girl on fire? And the lady not giving answers that were acceptable to Amadisa, that the slap he handed the lady went to. I've had many comments, I've had many reactions. The truth is, we also put our environment into context.
Okay.
Nigerian African environment where you say spoil the rod and spare the child, those kind of things.
Yeah.
People have justified that kind of assault on the lady because she deserves more, they say. The question is, who should be the one to meet out that kind of visit? Who
So-
should be the one to take up that kind of action? And that's where the debate has come up around
just to be clear, Peter, what you have just said now in a couple of seconds away was that during the interviewer's interaction with the lady, Ahmed Musa, the interviewer, assaulted the lady who he was interviewing, and people have tried to explain away why that could be allowed or something. That's what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Okay. All right then. I want to also throw more light on the help Ahmed Musa got for a little 6-year-old girl who suffered this, because in that documentary I saw that instantly he started raising funds for this lady. People started calling in and giving assistance to the little girl who suffered burns. And you went there again to confirm if the lady was, if the young girl was actually getting help. What did you find?
There again is another failure of the system. What I found when this case came up at the radio station, and there was an outpour of emotions, empathy, sympathy, care, love, attention. People were donating for this girl to receive adequate medical treatment. People pledged to ensure that the mother will have a work to do, a trade, whatever it is, so that she can sustain the family. But the failure I'm referring to is people also said, you know what, let's take them to the hospital. We went to the first hospital, the Federal Medical Center, and seeing the girl in the condition she was, it was like, okay, yeah, let her get a card. It was so nonchalant. It was so like, yeah, okay, the other cases. There was no sense of emergency to a little girl's plight. And immediately, the radio station, Amadisa said, you know what, take them away from there and take her to another hospital, Garki Hospital, where she went. And immediately they admitted her. They didn't ask for all those normal things that you hear a hospital to ask before they admit you, which the other hospital was doing. Admitted her, put her immediately on treatment, and went for surgery. And so those are the emotional parts that I say. You would say, thank God there is a human being who can take up the plight of others. It was emotional, but it showed the flaw of the system that in the first hospital, the guys there were not taking it as sensitive as it is.
Right.
But because of Ahmed's involvement, you could see that things had progressed from 3 months ago when the girl had the injury and the family were on their own.
Peter and Chris, please stay on the line. I need to go on a quick break. Chris, I need to go on a very quick break. When I return, I would come back to you, and then we'll have further discussion. The video is streaming currently on Facebook if you'd like to see. I'll be right back here on the Morning Crossfire. Do stay with us.
You believe what is first. Airtel shop, ba? Just go there with your NIN, just like that.
Sure guy.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Are you yet to register for your JAMB UTME and direct entry exams? What are you waiting for? Now you can purchase your PIN on Remita. Hurry now to www.remita.net/JAMB to buy your JAMB PIN or download the Remita mobile app on Android and Apple stores to purchase your JAMB PIN. You can pay using any payment method convenient for you. Remember, JAMB registration ends in a few days, so don't be caught unawares. For more information, visit www.remita.net/JAMB. Remita, because payments should be easy.
Dear Molfix mothers, the source of our happiness is our babies. For babies' happiness, it's important to choose a dry diaper. Molfix Air Dry Diaper, the #1 choice of mothers, has all the dryness all mothers dream of. It stays dry, does not leak, and our babies do not have rash. Molfix is the key to happiness, so we're starting the happiness movement with Molfix. Come on, mothers, try Molfix and join our happiness movement.
You've always wished you had a Samsung washing machine? Now you can get one in the Super Deals promo. From now to the 31st of May, you can get up to a 24% discount when you buy a Samsung Twin Tub washing machine and an 11% discount on drum washing machines. Get a washing machine and enjoy innovative technology that only Samsung can provide. Stay connected with Samsung.
Make everybody they wonder. Waiting me cause I be shine. Lush hair. Long hair or short doesn't matter. Crochet or dreadlocks can be better. Only for girls we know better. Lush hair. So you want to slay? Slay with swag. Hey, gotta be lush hair. Gotta be lush hair. Straight or curly. Hey, you know they tango. Lie. Gotta be lush hair. Gotta be lush hair.
People know how to make an impression, and that's why they only trust Lush Hair Extensions to bring out the shine in them. Lush Hair, be beautiful.
Running a growing business is not easy. It's all hands on deck for me and my small team of 12. I know that to get the best out of them, their health must be in tip-top shape. But most HMOs I approached said I have to have at least 20 staff before I can get on a plan. They don't cater to small businesses. Then I found Reliance HMO. And just like that, they got my team and I registered seamlessly. What's even mind-blowing is that their rates are flexible and affordable while not compromising on quality care. I have not received any complaints from my team since they got on board. The service is that great. Indeed, you can rely on Reliance HMO for your small businesses and its healthcare needs.
Visit reliancehmo.com/corporate or call 0700-7354-2623 to get a quote for your small business and start enjoying reliable healthcare today. Reliance HMO. You can rely on us.
Hey, Oga and Madam, you don't see the room now. Make I show you the toilet where you could share with the other neighbors.
Now the toilet be this.
What's up?
Oga agent, you mean say na general toilets clean come white like this,
Yes, now. Na hypo toilet cleaner than they use to clean and kill the yama jams come out.
Hypo toilet cleaner? Wow.
Wash your toilet at least once a week with Hypo toilet cleaner to keep it sparkling clean and gem-free. Available in sachet for 35 naira only. Madam, now 2 years land on one collect.
We go pay for 6 years,
Football is back, and there are more ways to win on BetKing. With mega odds and the widest market selections ever, you can increase your winnings with an accumulated bonus of up to 225%. Don't have an account? Visit betking.com to sign up now and claim a welcome bonus up to 100,000 naira. Stay safe and keep kinging. BetKing, playground for kings.
For area, then they call me Baba 22. If you look my JC, number 22. My keke plate number encore 22. My house number, of course. I cack for number 22. But you sabi wetin really make them they call me Baba 22? Now because I dey groove 22 times bonus on top every recharge.
Yes, so if you don't take when you use your glow line, reactivate now, make you begin enjoy your own Ogbonge 22 times bonus on top every recharge. Oh. It dey pay to reactivate your glow line.
Unlimited. Now we're back on the Morning Crossfire.
This is Morning Crossfire on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Lovely morning to you, Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome back to the Morning Crossfire here on the nation's number one talk station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. 8:37 is the time from our studios. And this morning we are talking about the documentary put out by BBC through BBC Africa Eye concerning the activities of the human rights radio personality Ahmed Issa. The team, members of the team are here, Peter Nkanga and Chris Ewoko. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the show this morning. Thank you.
Good to be here.
I'm Sheriff Quadry, Lagos. Let's know what you think on our social media platforms. We're streaming live right now on Facebook and on YouTube. You can see the video, clips from the video as we show you exactly what transpired while we're here. So you can see the clips playback one after the other on our live stream on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3, on YouTube, Nigeria Info 99.3. Let me know what you think in the comment section there, or just send me a WhatsApp message on 0809 597 5805. Peter, before we went on that break, you were about to add to what Chris, you were about to add to what Peter was saying before we went on that break.
Yeah, I want to say that there's been lots of questions, and these questions are questions that so far people are trying to find answers to. For instance, what is wrong with the system? Why is it that Nigerians, the public, don't have, confidence on the justice system? That is one. Two, why is it? Because if you listen to the grandmother of that young girl that was, whose head was burnt,
that's right.
She said, if you go to the police, they won't answer you on time. And she gave a lot of excuse. The question is, why is it difficult for the police to do the job they are supposed to do? The other question again is, for instance, media houses in Nigeria, much as we hold authorities to account, we hold people to account. How are they being monitored? Are they also being held to account? Are they also accountable themselves to the public? For instance, we have the National Broadcasting Commission. How effective is it able to monitor the media houses, the broadcast stations, radio, television stations across the country, to know what they are doing and how they do what they do and all that? And basically, when all these are put together, the question again is, well, it falls on the government, because Ahmed Issa in one of the interviews said that there was the government, and then he referred to 50 years ago. And the question again is, why is it not possible for the government to put acts together? You have 8 children that were taken away from their home 20 years ago, and 20 years now, they are still missing. Nobody has asked a question. No, why is it like that? Why? And then we just walk on and feel that, well, nothing is happening. This is the reason why, for instance, the BBC Africa Eye has go to societies, Nigeria, Kenya, many other countries in Africa to say, okay, we identify some flaws, and then this is what we do about it. You, the public, here's what we have. What do you think about it?
Indeed. Yeah. Now, Peter, let me come to you now. Let's quickly wrap up on this particular one, because you were telling me because you went to go and conclude your investigation on the little girl, 6-year-old girl who was burned on her head by her aunt. What you found at the hospital? You were saying that then they now moved that to another hospital. Did she get a treatment at the second hospital?
Oh yes, the first hospital they went to was the Federal Medical Center in Abuja. And that's where the process there, which is the system we're talking about, is about identifying flaws in the systems and asking governments to be proactive in activating remedies to those flaws. So we identified that at the first hospital, Federal Medical Center, they were not giving the girl the attention that Nigerians felt she needed. So we moved we followed the crew as they moved to the Gariki Hospital.
Right.
And so it is still the human rights radio now taking upon themselves this action of taking her to each of these places, right? So from the station, they moved to the first hospital. From the first hospital, they moved to Gariki Hospital, where as she got there, they gave her a bed. She was admitted and treatment started immediately. Now, what the hospital eventually did for the little girl was they had to take flesh from her thighs and graft it on her head.
Right.
And she has gone for surgeries and different, and she keeps going back for checkups. And even while we were there, the hospital bills were just kept coming. The hospital bills from the just kept coming. The family showed me the bills that they were giving for medication they have to buy, and all this is being borne by the Human Rights Radio and Medicine. So that shows the power that he has been able to yield to the point that he has goodwill from people who now also support that this, like people calling in and giving money, and so that's where it is believed a lot of the money is going to take care of a lot of bills of people who he does. While we're there, another case was brought in of a lady, a young girl that they had burnt her. That was side by side by this other little girl.
Okay.
So that's what I witnessed. That's what I observed. And it was really emotional, seeing that Nigerians from every walk of life in Nigeria and outside the country who called into the live program are pledging and are fulfilling their pledge to support the work that he does in taking care of the needy. Like Chris said, it shows the failure of the system.
That's right. I also remember that someone called in to volunteer to pay for the training in any field that the mother of the little girl would like to undertake, that he will pay for the training so that the family can be self-sufficient. Thank you for the good work you do. Let's go to the other story that you featured in this particular report, Nigeria's ordinary president. It's about missing boys in a community in Anambra State. What can you tell us about it?
You see, there is something about poverty. There's something about exposure. There's something about knowledge that comes from understanding and which translates into wisdom. The case of 8 boys, the youngest being 10-year-old, in Usupe, Anambra State, is a case that deserves the attention of every human being, every Nigerian. It is a case of communities where boys were taken from their homes on the orders of a former senator, that's a Senator Ubanese Obi Ibeke, that's Senator Alphonsus Ibeke. They were taken from their homes on the allegation that they are armed robbers, including a 10-year-old boy.
Even a 10-year-old boy?
They were a 10-year-old boy. And they were paraded as criminals, tortured, beaten based on the accounts of those who were tortured alongside them and those who were witnesses to the torture. Naked, and they were allegedly taken to the police, handed over to the police in November 2000. And since that November 2000 till today, they have not been seen for over 20 years. And the former senator is still living in the community. Let me tell you what it is about. It is about oppression, whereby the poor in that rural community in Sube have been subdued to the point that their fear and despair has led them not to be able to voice out on this atrocity that occurred in November 2000. Because also the person who is the accusing fingers point to the senator is living in the same community. So you can imagine whereby every day you come out and you see the person who did something to you and you can't talk. So it is only now that those who were young at that time that have grown up, like for example the 10-year-old boy who has been missing since November 2000, he would have been 30 years old by now.
That's right.
So you can imagine now as a 30-year-olds, those ones who were young are the ones coming up now 20 years after to talk about the atrocity that occurred in their community 20 years ago. And it was in the course of these young ones who have come up and have seen the different things that have been occurring in their community based on the actions of the senator,
That's right.
that they came to the human rights radio because they felt there's nowhere else they can go to, because the families have already gone to the police to say, where are our children? And the police did nothing. So they went to the human rights radio, and the human rights radio took up the case by announcing it and also calling up the senator on air in December 2000.
Okay.
And the senators denied the allegations that that is involved in the disappearance of the kids, of the boys. He instead said on live radio there that he handed them over to the police, that any question should be directed to the police. He doesn't know where those boys are. Live on air, he said he will provide evidence for the human rights radio Ahmadisa to prove his innocence. He said he will come in 2 weeks' time to give it. Ahmad said, okay, you know what? Take your time. I'll give you 1 week extra for you to go and provide all the evidence. 3 weeks. 3 weeks turned to 2 months in February when the BBC team were already on ground. Okay. And so the person who brought the story to the human rights radio, who is a pastor, came back to say, look, nothing has happened though. Ahmad on the 21st of February on live radio said, we are going to Anambra because we're going to conclude on this case. And that is what the whole world knows. Ahmad planned to go to Anambra with us, the BBC team. We are planning, and days before we went to engage and leave, he says he's no longer going to Anambra since February. And since February till today, yesterday, when the film was released, up to now, Ahmad has not come back to tell the Nigerian public, whom he said he's going to Anambra, that he's no longer going. He has not also given a reason why he is no longer going. And so that is one of the things that the film highlights.
Okay.
You know, we are all human beings. We all are fallible, so we all have flaws. But are we willing to correct our flaws and mend and, make ourselves better so that we can improve on the work we are doing and our purpose on earth? If people go to the radio station, scores and hundreds of people troop into the radio station because it is a holy ground. That is where it is like a pilgrimage. They believe there is a solution, and people are getting solution, and it is portrayed with the case of the little girl.
Right.
You hear that case, you announce to the world you're going to say and do something, and then later on, you decide not to do it. You don't go back and tell the public that you are no longer doing it. There's a perception that lingers in the minds of people that case is being heard, and that is why you see people still going there for years. People that have been going there since 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. They are there for years because they believe that is the solution. They don't understand sometimes that case that was heard, which was prominent in the ears and minds of people today, will be forgotten last week, last month, last year. But what has happened to those cases? Ahmad has not told Nigerians why he did not go to Anambra, why he has said he's refusing to take up the case of those 8 missing children. But the point is, this film actually highlights the good work that the station is doing, but also adlies also the failure of the system, whereby people still depend on having to trust in individuals than systems that will get justice for them.
Non-state actors. Peter, let me stay with you for a little while longer before we wrap up on this conversation. When Ahmed did not go, when he told you that he wasn't going, what did you do?
I'll be very frank. I still don't understand why, but I felt that there is a greater need for the society to know about the plight of those families some have died out of heartbreak. I mean, you can imagine some parents have died out of heartbreak of not knowing what happened to their children. Who have been alleged to be armed robbers, and there was no trial, nothing, and the police don't have any record, and the man that did it is in that community. Heartbreak, despair, misery. I just felt that if Ahmad is not going, if the human rights radio is not going, as he had promised the whole world on live TV and live radio, then the story still needs to be told. Those 8 children, their blood is crying for justice, if you look at it. And so if the little I could do was to go to the community and talk to them and investigate and find out more, then it's advancing the cause of bringing about the justice that the system has failed to provide, and that Ahmad has refused to provide as well, since he had the capacity. But let us still highlight those. Let Nigerians now be the ones to take it up and know that we are the ones who are responsible for our destiny in this country. And if an injustice is of such nature is done to the people of Osugbe in Anambra State, then we can we can have empathy and picture if it was us because those are human beings like us. Then would we want people to cry out on our behalf because those people can't cry out any longer? And let me tell you something. This is the danger of what the film actually exposes. It exposes two things. One, when you say you will do something, you have to be accountable, transparency, and that is what we demand from the Nigerian government, from every government, but also what I think the media needs to start demanding from ourselves. That's one, because if not, you are going to now betray the trust of people. The second danger is when victims who come out and speak out against the alleged aggressors and those who are violating their rights, they come out with the hope that you will grant them a listening ear, one, but also follow up with their case. But when you abandon them, you put them in harm's way. And the same thing for whistleblowers, because they feel abandoned. And those who they went to whistleblow or who went to report can come back and attack you and say, where is now your defender who was defending you? And you go back to being alone. And it destroys the society, because when you see this happen to the next man who spoke out against injustice, you will not want to speak out for any other person when it happens to somebody else. And that is the reason why nobody will speak out for you.
Right.
They are missing 8 children of Anambra State. It's a call for every Nigerian to say, Senator Obane said, what happened to those kids? Because if he dies, like we all will die one day,
Yeah.
how do we now get closure to this case? He's the only living person right now who can tell us who he handed over the police to, who can tell Nigerians who was the victim of the police station they were handed over to 20 years ago, which he is not doing.
It's quite an emotional story. While you were on your way to Anambra, I saw you were crying behind the wheels. You were quite emotional. You spoke with one of the boys who escaped during torture. He's now a grown man now, quite big and huge. What did he tell you?
He told me what it is like to witness evil. You know, sometimes we are on our way going to work or something, you witness an accident, and it's shocking because you're like, wow, maybe it was a fatal accident. And it remains in your mind. But this one, he lived it himself. He was the last boy that they had brought to the house of the senator where they were tortured and stripped naked and beaten. He said when he entered the house of the senator in 2000 as a young boy, he could not believe the people that he knows in his community that were there. They were defaced, beaten, tortured beyond recognition. And they were tied. It was because he was the last person and he saw what was there that he knew that if he stays there, this is his fate. He found a little time when the gate was opened and he built for his life. That is how he escaped being part of those 8 boys that eventually disappeared. He expressed the kind of emotion that if you were there, you would feel like as if it happened to you or your loved one.
Peter,
what was... Yeah, go ahead.
Peter, I'm afraid we have to go. We are out of time.
I'm sorry.
Completely out of time. I know. Don't be sorry. You've done a fantastic job. You alongside your team. Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Great job. The BBC team is doing. Great job.
Thank you. I just want to add that if the public watch the video to the end, they are now in a position to make informed decision about what needs to, happen within our society. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Peter, for joining the show today.
Thank you, sir.
There you go, Lagos, Nigeria. We need to stop at this juncture and bring you just a minute. You can go on YouTube and go and watch the full video on BBC Africa Eye. Just type BBC Africa Eye in the search box on YouTube and the documentary will pop up. Just scroll down, you see the documentary there, Nigeria's Ordinary President, and watch for yourself and make your informed decision because reactions are flying everywhere concerning that particular development, all right? All right, so thanks to my guests, thanks to BBC, our partners. Let's see if we can give somebody 10,000 naira or at least give somebody a chance to win 10,000 naira today on The Crossfire. This is brought to you by Creditville.
Do you earn an income? Are you in need of funds for your child's school?